toy aisle is back after being dormant for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know, but we are back. And with that, let's do the intro. The toy aisle.
I thought you were changing
by
that
popular
song.
demand. So we have Shady Jay, RGT5, and myself. What's up, guys?
Not much. Happy to be here. Happy to see a new birth of the toy aisle, a classic 8BE staple that's now back.
I like it. I think, toys. Let's do this.
So I'm gonna be honest. I've been out of the toy game for quite some time, but you two are two of the biggest toy connoisseurs that I know of, especially Jay. I'm not familiar with how much of a toy enthusiast RGT is, but what better guest to have on the podcast with me than two people that I know actively are collecting one form or fashion, some franchise of toys. So what we'll do today is we'll briefly introduce ourselves. Since you guys are the more toy experts, I'll let you guys go ahead and tell me your background and your experience with toys. So who wants to go first?
Go ahead, RGT.
All right, so growing up, I really didn't have like a whole hell of a lot of toys. That maybe I did, but it weren't necessarily toys that I remembered. Because really, when I was in the age of like when toys were popular, you know, when you're a little kid or whatever, my family didn't really have all that much money, so it was kind of rare to get like toys and stuff. I remember I had the LJN wrestlers where you like stuck your thumb up their ass, like the thumb wrestlers. I had like a Hogan, a Junkyard Dog, Big John Stud. I had a couple WWF Hasbros. I remember I had an Ultimate Warrior. It was the first series Ultimate Warrior. And I don't know if like I dipped his head in syrup or something, but his head tasted like maple syrup. So I'd always like chew on it. And my mom would be like, please don't do that. I've had like the boy, I can't remember. I never can remember the name of it. The boy Polly Pocket.
Mighty Max.
Yeah. I had one of those. That was pretty cool. But most of the time, as far as like playing with toys, I would play with toys at like my cousin's house. I had a cousin who was the same age as me, and his mom was like a single mom, but like she collected those government checks because she had like two sisters as well. So like he would have everything. He had a Sega Genesis and a Super Nintendo, which absolutely blew my mind. But he had a ton of like Ninja Turtle toys, so I got to play with those. I remember playing with X-Men toys in school, and that's actually one of the toys I've been collecting is the early 90s Toy Biz? I'm having the Toy Biz toys. So I've been collecting some of those like sealed figures and stuff. I've been collecting WWF Hasbros, and like as far as other stuff, I almost have a complete collection of the WWF Hasbros. I believe there's 99 of them, and I have over 70 right now. But like just the toys I'm interested in are like the toys that I remember from when I was a kid, but maybe necessarily I didn't own. So I've been watching like a lot of the X-Men cartoon series recently because it's just awesome. So I kind of had a hankering to pick up some of those, and luckily those are still cheap. You know, like you could buy sealed figures all day for like, you know, $15-20, and so it's pretty easy to get into those. Whereas like the WWF Hasbros, there's definitely a lot more demand for it. So those I kind of gotta watch out because some of those go for like over $1,000, and like since I'm going for a full set, you know, it's kind of a pain in the ass. But I'm doing loose on that. But yeah, you know, I had like a Stretch Armstrong too and stuff like that. So pretty much now that I'm an adult with a disposable income and like I don't have like kids of my own, it's like, well, shit, I guess I'll just buy myself some toys. I always wanted as a kid.
What about you, Eric?
The usual. I think the earliest thing I can remember actually collecting myself was, it started kind of generic. It was Play School. They used to have like the dinosaur action figures. It was like the little cavemen that were like about this small, and they had like the little green outfits, and they were barefoot and bald or had like blonde hair. I remember collecting those. It was like Play School, and it was like dinosaurs, and there was like a few of them. I think I still have some of those like in the attic or garage somewhere. And then after that, it was, of course, Ninja Turtles. I was about 4 years old when that came out. I remember collecting the Dick Tracy action figures, Mighty Maxes, Power Rangers.
Oh, I
And
had some
then,
Power Rangers too. See, that's kind
yeah.
of why I like the idea of this show, because I'm gonna remember shit that I had that I'll now want again. Like, you remember, not to interrupt you, but do you remember the plushes that they had, which were kind of like the wrestling buddies, but they were Power Rangers?
No, I didn't. I never saw those.
Oh,
I don't remember
dude,
those either.
I had a White Ranger one. Now that I'm thinking about it, and I have to go on eBay to try to find it.
Yeah, I was mostly like Power Rangers, Turtles, Mighty Max, and then I never really got, like, I kind of fell out of toys quickly. I guess when the Monday Night Wars wrestling was going on, that's when I actually started collecting wrestling action figures. But I never collected like the small ones where you have like you wind them up in their arms like slingshot. I remember the thumb wrestlers; those were trash. I remember even as a kid, I didn't like those. And then they brought them back out with the WCW versions too, when the NWO and all that. They had WCW ones, but I remember I have a box full of the like the 90, 97, 98, 99 era WCW toys with like Scott Hall and Nash and Sting, and then that's kind of it. I kind of fell out of it. My friends were more adamant about them. Like, they got the ECW action figures that had like the steel guardrail and the trash
Breakaway
can
tables and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but that's about it for me. I kind of fell out. I'm not too. I guess the closest thing I would get to with toys now is like amiibos and the odd Star Wars action figure here or there. Oh yeah, I also had when the special edition Star Wars came out, I started collecting like those and the Shadows of the Empire Kenner Star Wars toys. That's about it.
Okay. Very nice. I'm a little bit older than you two, I think. I know I'm older than Eric.
I'm younger than Eric, so by default.
Okay, then yeah, I'm a little bit older than you guys. So it's funny you talk about Power Rangers. By the time Power Rangers came on the scene, I know a lot of people my age and older like Power Rangers and love the show and whatnot. I wasn't into it. And I think with most toy lines and with most anyone, if you're not into it, then it just wasn't your jam, you know what I mean? So I didn't have Power Ranger stuff growing up. My younger brothers did. I had I have 5 brothers. My 2 youngest brothers love Power Rangers, but they were right in that like 7-9 age range where it was just kind of perfect for them, I guess. But me personally, I grew up, started on Star Wars, and then from there, Masters of the Universe, which, you know, Star Wars was late 70s into the early 80s. Masters of the Universe was early 80s. Picked up on G.I. Joe, and I absolutely loved G.I. Joe. That came around, 82, 83, I think, were the first ones, the 3 3/4 inch ones. I'm not talking about the 12-inch dolls. I was too young for those.
That was like when it had like a renaissance in the 80s when the cartoon came out.
Right.
Because G.I. Joe was, I guess, the 70s, 60s, 70s.
60s on the Action Man dolls, I guess, if you will, like, you know, the Vietnam era, you know, whatnot. Like I said, the 12-inch.
And then I guess it faded away until the cartoon came out.
Right. Those comic cartoon, all that kind of good stuff. Cartoon especially. The cartoon's actually really good, and I started watching it recently. Holy hell, the writing was really good on that. But we'll get into that another day when we do a G.I. Joe episode. I did transition into Turtles. G.I. Joe for me ended around Tiger Force line, and they started repainting a bunch of figures and just re-releasing them with the different paint scheme. I remember there was the Slaughter's Marauders line, and they had taken a lot of the Joes and they painted them blue with some brown, I think, like a dark brown. And then the Tiger Force was, again, a re-release with a different paint scheme, and they were painted like tigers. And then I think the Python Patrol was the Cobra one, and they made them look snaky and whatnot. It was around that time, maybe 88-ish, where I was kind of like, I'm kind of out on G.I. Joe, and then ushered in Ninja Turtles. I wasn't big on Transformers. I loved the cartoon. I was just never big on the toys. Ninja Turtles for me. And then once we started getting into the, I would say 93, 94 range, a lot of the toys I would buy, I would keep sealed. So I had a wall full of starting lineup figures, baseball mainly, because I'm a huge baseball guy.
You know
I love
what?
baseball.
That is a good point. I think everybody I know that had one of those little, like, because they were the sports series ones. I don't know anybody that opened those. Everybody I know that had any of those, like, starting lineup toys, they always had them sealed.
I remember my buddy Luke had a bunch of them, and he never opened them. He had I remember the Jordan. He had Larry Bird. He had Magic Johnson. I was like, let's open them. And he was like, why? I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, they were cooler on a wall, honestly, because then you can line your wall and it's like having this mural. My brother had a lot of basketball ones. This would have been around the time like Dream Team, and of course Jordan, Bird, and Magic Johnson, and so on and so on. And I had a lot of baseball guys. Excuse me. I did have some of the X-Men figures, and again, those stayed sealed. Do I still have those? I gotta be honest. I don't know. And then I kind of got out of toys for a good bit, and then I would say around the Monday Night Wrestling Wars, I kind of started picking up WCW figures because I got out of wrestling for a long time too.
Yeah.
So when I got back into wrestling in the very late 90s, everybody I watched in the 80s was on WCW. So for me, it was a natural gravitation towards WCW, talking about, Hogan, obviously, and Nash, who was Big Daddy Diesel in WWF, and then Scott Hall, who was Razor Ramon. Like, I remember when all those guys came up and whatnot. So, I started buying some of the WCW figures. This would have been, now keep in mind too, I would have been 19 or 20-ish when I started picking those up. And me and, Billy being man children, we actually opened them. I do still have a lot of those figures, not sealed anymore. You know which one I do have? Oddly enough, WCW did a Dennis Rodman one. And I have a Dennis Rodman one still sealed, actually.
I don't remember seeing him. I had
I don't know if it's worth anything, but
I'm looking up right now.
I had there was a Jericho 2-pack, I think, that had Jericho and I want to say Hogan.
Okay.
And then there was a one that had Miss Elizabeth and somebody else in it. There was a few random ones.
Those are the ones where you squeeze the legs together and maybe there's power bomb action or something like that.
Yeah, and I had the ring. They had the ring.
Red hair.
He's wearing I want to say a gray metallic jacket.
Yeah. It goes for about $30.
Okay. I mean, not bad. I probably picked it up at
And
Kmart.
then, the second line of those came with they each had a piece of a corner. So there was a first line, and then the second line was I want to say Booker T and Bret Hart and a few others, and it came with
Goldberg, and they came with
a piece of a ring.
Yes,
you could actually combine the ring. Yeah.
Yes, that's accurate. I did have several of those guys as well in that line, and then I kind of from there I jumped mainly into video games. And then of course, YouTube and doing what I do on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. I never, it's like now I collect a lot of what I had growing up. So now I actually have more G.I. Joes than I did when I was a kid. I have more Turtles. I have more Masters of the Universe guys. And so I do collect all of those people still. Masters of the Universe, Star Wars, G.I. Joe. I like some of the, I guess, lesser known or more odd or unique. Obviously Turtles, G.I. Joe, Transformers, those were big. I like Battle Beasts. People remember that, but usually not until you say something. I like the muscle figures. I have a bunch of muscle figures. There was the little pink, probably about an inch and a half tall, and they were pink. If you guys remember those. I like, what do I collect current day? Not Star Wars, but Karate Kid. Karate Kid had a toy line back in the day. A lot of people don't remember. Of course, like Thundercats. I've got a little bit of everything. I've got a box of the Dick Tracy figures, like you mentioned earlier. I've got some. You guys remember the show Cops, the cartoon show Cops? They were like a futuristic. If any of you guys out there remember that, I have a few of those, not many. But it was a cop show cartoon set in the future. And Big Boss, I remember him specifically. He kind of had that like Jimmy Cagney kind of voice going on, with a metal hand. Dr. Claw style was weird. But I enjoyed the show. And let's see here. What else do I have? I got literal tubs and tubs and tubs and tubs of toys. Do I do any modern day toy collecting? Mainly Funko Pop. That I have a lot of those. Was that a shake of the head there, RGT?
I have one Funko Pop, and it's a Scrooge McDuck because I love Scrooge McDuck.
Okay,
he loves money, and I love money. But
he did love money, yes.
Yeah, that's all.
I have some Funko Pops, but I always obtain them like for free. Like I don't think I've ever really bought a pop. But like the most recent one I got was the Fortnite Loot Llama.
Okay.
Just because I've been playing Fortnite a lot, and then I have like the Godzilla. That's kind of like he's kind of like a little chunky,
right?
Like a little chunky one. But if we're gonna get into modern stuff that's similar to Funko Pops, Tubs is like Funko Pops.
Okay, that's cute. I like that.
And what it is it's rubber ducks, and they're differently themed. So there's Back to the Future. There's Street Fighters. There's I think Halo. There's Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon. There's I think there's a Kratos one.
Interesting.
A few of them, yeah. So
see, this is the thing with Funko for me. Like they get licensed for everything.
Sure.
They need a Nintendo line. That's something they don't have license for.
Yeah.
Will they ever get it? I don't know, but
the issue with that is I think Figma or whoever the brand is that Nintendo does, there's a thing that Nintendo uses, like an action figure line. I think they have the license for like a long time.
Okay, gotcha.
I just think they're so ugly, and I know people love them, but it's like they're just so ugly to me.
They're changing them up a little bit now.
So if you let's say you just wanted the Friends line, okay. There's not going to be a whole lot of uniqueness to them outside of maybe something from the show or a Seinfeld line or Breakfast Club or even Napoleon Dynamite. A lot of they all look alike. I don't like that. Yeah, I can understand that if we're talking human characters, but if you get into like the Star Wars figures and the Transformers figures and the unique ones, it's like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like, let me show you. Hang on, I got one right here actually.
Well, like what you're saying, a lot of times it's whatever little prop they give the character to hold, or whatever their shirt is, or if they have like a hat or sunglasses or something like that. And what's kind of funny about Funko Pops, and I think I might have mentioned this to you, they're like certain actors that have multiple Funko Pops for multiple franchises and lines. Like, let's say like this, how many different Funko lines is Johnny Depp in, or how many different Funko lines is Chris Pratt in?
Right. I mean, there's an Edward Scissorhands. I think there's an Edward Scissorhands, and then I believe that there is the Pirates of the Caribbean as well. And I don't know if there was a Willy Wonka line or not, but you got two automatically. But yeah, you're right. There's but look at this Skeletor.
Yeah,
like he's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't like the big eyes. That's their thing. That's kind of their trademark, so I get it. This is actually the 10-inch one. It's not a box because I tripped and crushed the box, so I just went ahead and opened it. But like you were talking about, look at his staff.
And he's a bobblehead. Not all of them are bobbleheads.
He is not a bobblehead, actually. His head will twist.
Looked like he was moving a little bit.
That's actually why I don't buy the Star Wars ones, because they're bobblehead, and I'm not real big into the bobblehead stuff. So I kind of leave those alone. But anyways, so yeah, Funko is probably the biggest current thing because, dude, look, they're between $10 and $15 depending on where you buy them. So it's cheap. They're there is some good stuff out there. NECA makes amazing stuff. But that's expensive, and I'm just not. I mean, I got some NECA stuff, not a lot, but I'm just not spending that kind of money on
the ones I can't get into, man, are the reaction ones, like those reaction toys. A lot of them just look crappy made. Like,
Well,
I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to catch the vibe of like the original like toys of some, but now they're
Star
starting
Wars
to do,
figures and stuff like
now they're starting to do franchises that weren't even around back then, and the toys just kind of.
You're not wrong.
I don't know.
You're not wrong. See, we could do a whole episode on Funko, but
Yeah.
I didn't mean for Funko to hijack the deal.
No, it's fine.
I collect like I'm this like very closeted, not at all in the closet, New Kids on the Block fan, and they had a bunch of toys come out back in the day. So anytime I see, anything New Kids, I try to scoop it up if it's a decent price. So I definitely collect New Kids on the Block toys. Trying to think what else I like.
For somebody that fell out of collecting toys, you sure collect toys a lot. like me, it's weird. Once I got like into high school, I stopped, and then it became like I even stopped kind of doing video games for a little bit, and then it became like when I first met you and Billy, that was right around when I started getting back into game collecting. So then it was like, all right, I can't do comics plus games plus toys,
right?
Plus, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll do games, but toys is slowly but surely, not to the extent where I go looking for toys, but if I find something that I'm like, okay, cool, I'll get that, I will.
I actually got back into toys around the time I got back into doing the video game stuff.
Yeah.
The two just naturally kind of went hand in hand because both things were so important for my childhood growing up, and not even just my childhood, like video games, like they kept me out of a lot of trouble in my like late teens and early 20s. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but let's just put it that way, because if I wasn't at home playing a game, I would have been somewhere getting in trouble. So yeah, video games are super important. And about the time I got back into collecting video games, the retro stuff, at least, toys just kind of fell right in line with that. I like the McDonald's Happy Meal toys. Not just any of the toys, but like the older stuff. You remember the ones that used to transform and stuff like that. And I've got a couple of the Burger King ones as well. Remember the show Dinosaurs? There was a line with the dinosaurs. I've got a few of those. Burger King, I believe, did a Back to the Future line at one point. I've got some of those. So yeah, a lot of the food Happy Meal toys.
I don't think it was Burger King. It was McDonald's, because they had the DeLorean that you would rev up and it would spark.
It might have been McDonald's.
Yeah, it was McDonald's.
I just remember the Marty is like on a board, and I think you can pull it back and it'll go.
Yeah, they had the DeLorean that sparks up too. It was like one of those old toys where it sparks when you let it go.
Right. I remember those.
And it was Doc Brown.
Anybody into Hot Wheels? I used to be back in the day, but like I would open them to actually play with them.
Hot Wheels was weird with me, man, because like I would never really get like the real Hot Wheels. I would always get like the cheap cars.
Yeah, same.
And then like my family would never ever like my parents wouldn't get me like the cool play sets and crap. So like I would just get bored of the Hot Wheels. But the Hot Wheels are cool now because they're actually licensing stuff out on them now.
Yes, they are. Those are more expensive too. Hot Wheels is still pretty cheap too. Like your standard run of the mill Hot Wheel car. Not any kind of thing special or anything, or like a Nintendo themed or anything like that. I think they're like $1.50, something like that. So they're still pretty cheap. I'm just not into it, but
RGT.
What?
Anything you gotta say?
About Hot Wheels? I mean, I had some Hot Wheels when I was a kid, but I would play with them. But I never had the sets or anything like that. I remember another thing was like Dollar Tree toys, because like like that was a staple in my house, because when I was a kid I didn't freaking care, like the ghetto ass wrestler ones and stuff like that. Take GI Joes. I mean, hey,
there was
some
pretty
bring them
cool
to school
knockouts
because people would clown you, but I mean,
right.
I remember there was these little snail action figures. They were like literally like snails that were like with like they were from like outer space or something. And there was good snails and bad snails, and they had armor. And I forgot what they were called. And then there was also the barnyard, like the army. It was like evil pigs versus like sheep. You remember that one?
I don't remember.
There was like pigs versus sheep, and they had like military, like U.S. Army and Air Force themed weapons and stuff. There was Dino Riders. There was the snails, and then but Dollar Tree, or not necessarily Dollar Tree, but some of the dollar stores, like during the heyday of like Mighty Max. I remember one of the dollar stores I went to had things that were similar to Mighty Max, but they looked like Super Nintendo controllers. And you opened it up, and it was like a Street Fighter like bootleg. So you'd have like a Ryu or a Blanca, and you'd open it up, you'd have two figures, and it'd be like a little Mighty Max thing. I have it somewhere. I wish I could find it, but yeah, definitely Dollar Tree. And to this day, I see some YouTube channels right now that actually do dollar store toy hauls for the week. Like they'll go and they'll pick up like the random, like there's like a new military action figure series that they'll pick up and look at the toys and stuff like that. And
there's some okay stuff at Dollar Tree still, specifically Dollar Tree. Mm-hmm. I'm one of those guys where anytime I go to anywhere with the toy aisle, I'll go down the toy aisle. So anytime I go to Dollar Tree, I'll go down the toy aisle. And sometimes I'm like, wow, they carry that and it's $1. Like, I'm not into it, but you know, like the minifigures. What did I see the other day? They were, I think the He-Man minifigures.
Yeah, they got some. They got like
shelves for like $5 or something like that. And I've seen the G.I. Joe ones, and I've seen Transformers ones as well. But yeah, they were $1.
Yeah, they got some major franchise stuff. They're like they have Disney stuff. They ain't
have that shit when we were kids.
Oh no, they didn't.
We had them bootleg ass toys.
Yeah.
You know what? Another one, a good one if you're just looking for something cheap. Five Below? Do you guys have that around y'all?
Yeah.
Sometimes they got some pretty decent toys for $5 or less.
That's where I go and get USB charging cables for my controllers and stuff.
Okay, nice.
They got DC comic toys and shit now. Damn, I'm looking at their website. They got Marvel. They got DC, Jurassic World. Shit.
Yeah, I thought about doing a weekly. This is what I got from Dollar Tree.
No nuts, do it.
Some people are doing it. Even food. They got food in Dollar Tree now.
They do have food in Dollar Tree. Yes, they do.
There's this one guy I watch. Not that this is a food podcast. This ain't the Fat Gamer podcast. But there's this guy I watch who literally will do like, he'll buy food from Dollar Tree and review it.
Well, there was, the Dollar Tree subsidiary, Family Dollar. Like, it's more expensive than Dollar Tree, but it's like in the same family. I used to grocery shop there all the time when I lived with a couple buddies because I really just bought snacks because I would give the main guy just some money and he would go grocery shopping for the whole house. And two, it was like right near my place. So like I could just go right there, get my little shopping cart, get a bunch of sodas and shit. It was great. I loved shopping there.
I would do Family Dollar if I was doing road trips back when I was, younger, like, late teens, early 20s, because you could load up on snacks. Like if you had $20, you had a van full of snacks. It was easy. So
$20 at Dollar Tree gets you 20 toys.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. Well, 18, you got to count for tax, right?
Depends, yeah.
I mean, no, you have to account for tax.
Depends. Some places tax is different.
I mean, if you lived in Delaware, no taxes.
Okay, no taxes.
But you have state income tax, though.
You do. You have state tax.
Cancels out.
It's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
They get the tax somewhere.
Oh, of course. They get the tax somewhere. Property taxes. That's where they get you.
There should be no tax on toys. Like certain food doesn't have tax.
I agree with that, but
start a petition.
No kidding.
Demand justice.
No, government wants their piece of the pie always, so that ain't gonna happen. But did anybody ever? So we're talking about kids and our origins, I guess. I used to live in South Texas, and we would go to HEB to go grocery shopping. And I know, Eric, you guys have HEB where you are.
Mm-hmm.
I would take, and they had a toy aisle just like Kroger does now, right? But back then, I remember hiding, and it wasn't the only time I did this, but I remember hiding a General Hawk, and it was like $2.99 or something. And of course, I didn't have any money. I was like 8 or something, and I remember taking it and hiding it under that bottom shelf. Like you lift up that bottom shelf.
Oh yeah.
And hiding it underneath there. And we went, every time I went back for like 2, 3, 4 times in a row, I would check and make sure if it was still there, and it still was. I just never got the money together to actually purchase the thing because, well, I was young and allowance wasn't really a thing in my house. So
Yeah, I always had toys. I had no intention on buying them because it'd be whatever, but I would still hide the hell out of them.
It's just in case, in case. And then you like throw it over the top shelf to where hopefully no one's going to get to it, or no one's going to reach up there to restock or anything. So
right.
But now it's a little bit different. Like you said, you got disposable income now. It's, don't want this or not, just buy it if you do. So
some of us don't even go to the store to get toys anymore.
Hey, eBay, baby. Well, I mean, I only buy old shit anyway, so I can't just walk into Walmart and be like, "Hey, you got any early '90s X-Men figures or early '90s WWF Hasbro's?"
If they were fucking smart, they would all start to rebring those back.
Yeah, but it's not original, so it wouldn't be the same. They're doing that actually. I've seen the Ghostbusters on the shelves. I've seen,
and they've had Hasbro style. WWE released some Hasbro styles like 4 or 5 years ago.
Right. From He-Man to Ghostbusters to hell, even G.I. Joe right now, they're doing that. They're re-releasing what looks old. So it's like, at least with the He-Man figures, they're different. They're different enough, you know what I mean, where you can put it side by side and go, okay, they look very similar. You can obviously tell this one's a re-release because of the new He-Man figures, all the different points of articulation, with the wrists moving, the ankles moving, all that kind of stuff. And they didn't do that on the original line, or even just the packaging. I think the packaging on the Motu figure says like new for 2021 or retro 2021, something like that. I forget what it is. So if it's clear, I'm like, okay. But the Ghostbusters figures, I don't know if you guys have seen these or not. Apparently, RGT, you don't go out into the real world, but they're like eerily similar to the original run back in, I think, late 80s, early 90s. Pretty crazily similar.
Based on the cartoon?
Yes.
Okay, I actually have a box of cartoon toys, loose ones. I have like the toilet, because that was another line that my cousin had, and he had the house, the Ghostbusters headquarters too, like
firehouse, right?
Yeah, the kid had fucking everything. I didn't have jack shit.
Yeah,
thanks.
Yeah, I do have a few of those now, and I thought they were neat because you could like hit a button on their back or something. And I remember the old lady, I think like her mouth opened up real wide or something like that.
Yeah.
Anybody remember Police Academy figures? And remember the movies, Police Academy?
I remember the movies, but
I've got a few of the figures.
Holy shit, dude! You're right. These look exactly like the originals.
I told you.
I'm looking at the Fearsome Flush, the toilet one right now.
Yeah. I'm hoping with things like that, and I've done this. I think I only did one video. I need to do more, and it's like a what to look for video because everything old is new now. So everything old.
The main thing to look for is on the back of the box. There's a .com website,
right? But what if they're opened?
Yeah,
and that's
the thing. I'm sure there'll be a stamp on the bottom that says
should be a stamp somewhere.
2021.
In theory, yes, but if they're using the exact same mold, there's a good chance that it would still say 1980 whatever, because a lot of the Star Wars re-release vehicles were like that. They were using the original mold, but like I remember specifically the Emperor Shuttle. Exact same mold, like everything. The big difference was on the original, the back, where the lights, you saw the lights, that would come open and there was a place for batteries because there was electronics on it, just like the original X-Wing. Well, on the re-release, you open that up and you could put batteries in there, but there's no contact, so it's not going to do anything. So that's like the big difference when it comes to something like that. So again, if they're using the original molds, probably not. So, but I've not gotten hands on an opened Ghostbusters one. But you're right. That's a big telltale to date something is the .com, obviously. Because there was no .com back in. There it is. Hey.
Well, no, these are the new ones based on the kids from Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Okay,
I was gonna say what's funny is they're bringing the retro Ghostbuster stuff out, but I was gonna say none of those toys have any relevance to the movie. But then I saw that they just did these too, and they're in the vein, I guess, of the originals.
I mean, they've got all the licenses, so I think they're just making the most out of it.
Yeah.
You know what? I know I've seen Space Jam stuff on shelves. I don't, whatever. I'm not a Space Jam fan, generally speaking. The original was, go back and watch it if you haven't in a while, and I'm just going to get hate for that. I don't care. It's not good. Having LeBron James in it is even worse, in my opinion, and I'm not going to watch it because he's in it. I'm just not a fan of him. But I really like that they're putting out toys from new movies and new shows instead of just recycling everything from when we were younger. Yeah. I've noticed Jurassic Park stuff has made a comeback, a resurgence, a re-release resurgence lately. I've seen those at Target lately. So to have new movie stuff coming out is good.
It's almost like a lot of the new toys that come out aren't for kids. They're
not. They're making them for us because, like you said, we have our own money now. We don't have to ask mom and dad. But a lot of that stuff can be hard to find. I don't know if like Hasbro and Kenner and whoever else is making toys right now realize that there's entire shops dedicated to the old stuff. And that's kind of my thing is like, even what's the newest G.I. Joe run that's going on right now? They're about $20 a pop, right? I'm like, well, these are cool, but for $20, I can go to a store close to me and probably pick up 3, 4, 5 figures, or put that 20 towards a more expensive one like a Snake Eyes or Storm Shadow or something like that, or a Cobra Commander. And I'd rather have that all day versus these new figures coming out. So that's just me personally.
No, I agree. Like I only really have interest. I would say the newest toy I have would be my Scrooge McDuck, or maybe the NECA figures. I don't know when those released, but I have a NECA, the purple Batman from the NES game, and I have a Jason Voorhees based on the NES game as well.
It's funny, they actually did 2 pop figure for Voorhees, 8-bit, and they did a Freddy one. I've not seen the Batman one. I don't know that it doesn't exist. I've just not seen the Batman one, but I actually do have the Freddy and the Jason one.
I wonder if they do have. There's one, but it's not based on the NES game. It actually looks like Batgirl from the '60s show.
Okay.
Just like like it's a 75th anniversary, so it's pretty much just like Batgirl colors on Batman.
Gotcha. Which, I mean, they were pretty similar colors if I'm remembering right, because Batman, Adam West, he had the kind of lighter gray.
Yeah, it was lighter.
Yeah, I think the difference is she's purple. She's purple though, right?
Yeah,
she was purple. Yes.
Yeah.
So like that's what this is.
Interesting.
Interesting. All right, so I think that's a good stopping point. You guys watching this, feel free to put in the comments what topics you would like for us to share, or if there's anything that we said that might have sparked up some kind of reminder for you guys for your childhood. Let us know. Feel free to put that down below. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. And anything you guys want to say?
Thanks for watching.
More to come.